Welcome to this module on self-care and self-care planning. I'm excited that you have continued on your journey to becoming a more resilient and mindful healthcare educator. If you have any questions regarding the content in this module or the presentation, feel free to reach out using the contact information at the bottom of each page. In this module, we will explore the research and rationale behind self-care and begin to define what meaningful self-care looks like. The module emphasizes the importance of intentional, mindful self-care planning as a proactive strategy for preventing burnout, combating compassion fatigue, and fostering resilience. Faculty in higher education, especially those in rural areas or healthcare programs, are frequently on the front lines supporting students through trauma, mental health crises, and personal hardships, often without adequate resources or clear boundaries, leading to emotional exhaustion and compassion fatigue. Without systemic self-care practices, such as setting boundaries, engaging in mindfulness, seeking peer and institutional support, and normalizing mental health awareness, faculty are at increased risk of compassion fatigue and burnout, which not only undermines their well-being, but also diminishes the capacity to effectively support students. Implementing structured, mindful self-care practices that occur within the academic institution is the essential to foster sustainable and empathetic educational environment. Faculty in higher education face increasing risks of compassion fatigue, yet research emphasizes that self-care should not be an individual burden alone. Institutions must take an active role by embedding wellness into workplace culture through supporting policies, structured interventions, and proactive education. By fostering environments that promote diverse, sustainable self-care strategies and community support, institutions can help faculty build resilience, reduce burnout, and support long-term well-being. Understanding the importance of integrating mindful self-care practices into the work environment is a key takeaway from this module. Self-care should not be considered extracurricular, and faculty need to better understand the positive impacts of sustainable self-care that occurs as part of the work environment to advocate for change, support fellow colleagues, and help others recognize if they may be suffering from compassion fatigue due to a lack of institutional support or a structured self-care plan. As faculty in healthcare programs, we can support one another to build or change our environments to one that supports self-care practices and move away from a culture of overwork or shame related to professional well-being. Mindful, intentional self-care planning is a critical strategy for both preventing and managing compassion fatigue among faculty educating students in the helping professions. Research shows that sustainable and personalized self-care plans supported by faculty workplaces are essential in fostering resilience, improving well-being, and promoting long-term professional sustainability. Intentional self-care planning is a powerful intervention for both managing and preventing compassion fatigue. It is noted across multiple sources that mindful, intentional self-care planning is a critical protective factor as well as a way to mitigate the impacts of compassion fatigue. The process of mindful self-care planning involves reflective insight and the creation of a personalized and sustainable plan that supports the development of resiliency and well-being. Unlike the traditional definition of self-care, which may often focus on self-care as a means to an end, mindful self-care practices are described as an active, personalized, and values-driven process to show appreciation to oneself and one's body through awareness, compassion, routines, and engagement with meaningful occupations. This is a unique and important perspective to understand, as self care tends to be a buzzword adopted by many professions to discuss activities that take place after work hours, or as an extracurricular, or as an additional to do list item, rather than a meaningful and personalized process that can occur during the workday or as part of a typical routine or occupation. As you've already heard, the research clearly shows the importance of combining self care education with evidence based strategies. It's not just about raising awareness. Teaching about self compassion and the importance of self care planning is essential, but pairing that knowledge with hands on tools like mindfulness, breathing techniques, goal setting, body scanning, and loving kindness practices is what leads to a truly sustainable well being. Activities that can be integrated into a mindful self care plan will be discussed in a later module. A critical piece to understand is that mindful self care plans should be a flexible living plan, not a one size fits all checklist. Effective self care plans adapt over time, reflecting each person's unique history, preferences, and emotional journey. Just like a personalized care plan for healthcare clients, a successful self care plan is continuously reassessed and tailored to fit shifting needs. Finally, embedding a variety of mindful self care activities into daily life provides the foundation for long term resilience. Reflection, mindfulness, self regulation, and awareness practices are essential to a sustainable plan. And just a reminder, self care isn't just a buzzword. It must be woven into the fabric of everyday life through adaptable, evidence based routines that pair knowledge with action. This is how we build resilience and genuine compassion satisfaction. Now that we've reviewed the research behind the importance of self care plans, in the next module, we will discuss how to create a mindful self care plan. We will discuss some basics for successful self care planning and start to review some evidence based strategies that can be implemented into your daily routine. Thank you for taking the time to review the information on self care and self care planning. I look forward to exploring additional course content with you.